Yashwanthkumar.
Sir, good morning.
Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So, shall we address you as Yashwanthkumar? Is it correct?
Yes, sir. Fine. It's correct.
So, Yashwant, welcome to today's mock interview.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, tell us something about yourself, very briefly, about your qualification, your experience. What have you been doing after your BTech? Especially, you have taken some employment also, and your hobbies.
Sir. So, my name is Yashwanthkumar Reddy. I am from Kurnool district of Andhra Pradesh state. I have completed my graduation in Computer Science and Engineering from University College of Engineering, JNTU Kakinada, with a gold medal from the university. After my graduation, I have joined Indian Oil Corporation Limited and worked there for 2 years as Information Systems Officer. During that period, I have attempted Group 1 Services Examination of UPSC and was allotted to the Commercial Taxes Department. As of now, I am working as Assistant Commissioner of State Taxes at Kurnool itself. My hobbies include guiding aspirants for State Civil Service Examinations and also watching web series on professional fiction, sir.
So, Yashwant, while you are working as Assistant Commissioner,
Sir.
Says like, has your designation not been changed to GST?
Sir, after reduction of GST, sir, the IRS authorities who will be implementing CGST Act, they were being called as Assistant Commissioner of Central Tax, and all the state revenue authorities, they are designated as Assistant Commissioner of State Taxes. Sir. Our designation earlier was Commercial Tax Officer. It was changed from Commercial Tax Officer to Assistant Commissioner.
So tell me, Yashwant, after Andhra Pradesh was bifurcated,
Sir.
and you had a new Andhra Pradesh state, how have the commercial taxes or the tax position, the collection part, how has it improved or it has gone down? And overall state of economy of Andhra Pradesh, how would you assess post bifurcation, especially when richer parts of the erstwhile Andhra Pradesh, as they say, has gone to Telangana?
Sir, it's true that around 40% of the state's own tax revenues in the United Andhra Pradesh are coming from the only Hyderabad city itself, sir. So bifurcation has created this kind of situation where AP is not getting enough revenues from its taxation sources. So because of further, sir, due to some discrepancies in the Bifurcation Act, Andhra Pradesh has lost around 4,200 crores because all the refunds, they were distributed based on the population, whereas all the tax arrears, they were distributed based on the location basis. As all the headquarters of big companies were located in the Hyderabad, all the arrears went to Telangana state, sir. So Andhra Pradesh has suffered because of that also. But after bifurcation, sir, the government has focused on liberalization, sir, because of which Andhra Pradesh was consistently ranked among top 1 or 2 states in ease of doing business, because of which it has been attracting a lot of new industries like Kia industries, of Kia automotive industries, etc. Further, the government is also focusing on renewable energy like solar energy and wind energy, which is giving good amount of revenues to the state, sir. And I can proudly say that, sir, Andhra Pradesh is one such state who has not took the GST compensation for the first 3 years, sir, because its revenue growth was more than 14% consecutively. Recently, after COVID also, during January and February, Andhra Pradesh has posted a revenue growth of around 15 to 20%. Sir.
So, Yashwanthkumar, tell me, the previous government, even the new government of Andhra Pradesh, has been calling, or requesting the center to make Andhra Pradesh or give it a special status. Now, what to your mind is ailing the state, Andhra Pradesh, that it has to go again and again and confront with the center on the point of being declared as a special status? Is it merely political, or you think that the state of economy of Andhra is really bad? And if yes, what has brought that to this level?
Sir, after bifurcation, sir, Andhra Pradesh economy have consequently grown with a annual growth rate of around 8 to 10% in GSDP, sir. Although the growth was there, sir, significantly the growth was mainly because of growth in service sector and agriculture sector, sir. The growth in manufacturing sector was very less. The government is the government is insisting on the special category status because it will grant sufficient tax incentives, sir, like income tax rebate, etc., which will result in many new companies being set up, new industries being set up, which will further economic growth and which will also provide employment to the demographic dividend of Andhra Pradesh youth. So because of that reason, sir, specifically the government is asking for special category status again and again, sir.
Many states have been, making announcements during elections or before elections about the waiver of farm loans.
Yes.
Andhra had also announced. I have no idea whether it was ever implemented, but are you in favor of giving loan waivers to the farmers, the short-term loans especially?
Sir, in my limited understanding and experience, sir, I feel that loan waivers will be regressive in the long term, sir. It will help only as a immediate resolving measure, but it will not have a long-term impact, sir, because it will disincentivize farmers who are even willing to pay. Further, it will all the loan waiver, etc., they will benefit only a set of farmers who have took loans already and who have land titles. It will not benefit a long section of the farmers who consists of tillers who are tilling on others' land without any land titles and without any formal land agreements. So they are at more loss because of this farmers' crisis. I think we need to focus more on other aspects like ensuring good prices, ensuring quality inputs at lower prices, and also developing the supply chain management system, the entire supply chain management system, and also developing new technologies like precision agriculture, etc.
Yashwant, Andhra is a totally coastal state, and it is so close to the Bay of Bengal. Even Kurnool, I'm, right from one end to the other end, it's all coastal. And coastal states have these disasters like what we are facing in the western side, rather more. Now, suppose you were the district collector of a coastal district in Andhra and you had a similar warning of Taute kind of cyclone. Now, and you have an idea about it. What are you going to do? What steps would you take 7 days in advance?
Sir, while a disaster is very imminent to come, sir, our first priority should be to save the lives of the people and also to reduce the kind of losses that we'll be having as far as possible, sir. So for that, I will first make out a team at the district headquarters itself, sir, and give them individual responsibilities to each of the team leader for managing of logistics, for creating awareness among people, for evacuating people, for ensuring emergency supplies like petrol, diesel, food supplies, water supplies, etc., and medical teams, etc., sir. And further, when the cyclone is going to hit the shore and the impact is going to get severe, I'll myself go to the field, sir, and I will monitor all the rehabilitation and rescue efforts, and I will try to coordinate with all the other departments and also forces like NDRF, etc., sir, to minimize the losses of people and also loss to the economy.
Okay, tell me, in what conditions can the civil administration ask for help from the armed forces?
Sir, in a few cases where the situation is out of the control and the resources that are available with the civil administration, they are unable to control the situation, then they can ask help from the armed forces, sir. Like like situations of like riots or disasters where more number of forces are needed.
Can you ask for help of armed forces if you have law and order situation in your district?
Sir, I am not aware of the specific rules, sir. But if any situation goes out of the control, then as a district magistrate, we need to utilize all the resources at hand, sir. Then definitely using army, if it is possible, is also a good measure, sir.
Okay. So I pass on YASWANTHKUMAR to Mr. Khanna.
Thank you, sir.
He will now interact with you.
Thank you.
Yashwant,
Sir, good afternoon.
good afternoon. How are you?
Fine, sir. Thank you, sir.
I find 2016 you did your computer science and engineering graduation.
Yes.
And 5 years you have worked intermittently at IOC and some other organization.
Sir.
Okay. So why did you leave Indian Oil Corporation?
Sir, I had this thing of public services at the back of my mind, sir. Before joining Indian Oil itself, I have considered Indian Oil as a backup option, sir. If I am unable to make into UPSC or any other public services, then I thought having one good backup option will provide me sufficient confidence to go further and pursue my dreams. Because of that, I joined IOCL, sir. While I was in IOCL, I wrote APPSC examination, APPSC Group 1 examination, sir, which I was able to get through, and I was allotted the commercial taxes department, sir. So I have joined the present post by leaving IOCL.
So that means you have kept a backup arrangement already ready with you in case you don't get into civil services.
Pardon me, sir. I am unable to hear your voice clearly, sir. Can you please speak a bit louder?
That means that you have kept a backup arrangement ready with you.
Yes,
That
sir,
if you miss out on civil services, you have some experience and a job.
Yes, sir. That was the plan.
Oh, that was the plan. So then why should you be taken? What qualities will you bring to civil service? I mean, there are thousands of candidates. So what is very special that you having double focus versus another candidate who has got a single focus of civil service? So what qualities will you bring over and above that candidate?
Sir, I was preparing along with my job for the last 5 years, sir. I have never went on leave for more than 1 month. So I think I was handling both my job responsibilities along with my preparation, and I have reached this stage, sir. So I think I was able to devote my time towards both my job and my preparation equally, sir. And further, I have shown commitment and dedication towards whatever the job was allotted to me, sir. I try to give my 100%, the best what I could give, sir. Further, I also have rich experience of working in both public sector and government organization for over 5 years, sir, which has given me rich experience and also expertise about dealing with teams, dealing with public, etc. And further, I also got few things like I take full responsibility of all the work allotted to me, sir, without any external scrutiny, etc. I'll try to fulfill the job at hand by all the means. So I think these are some things I can bring up to public services.
Okay, we'll discuss about your reply later, but then you did mention that you will bring technology into the governance.
Yes. Yes, I can bring technology into governance also. That is also there.
You are a technology student.
Yes.
Who is the father of computer science and artificial intelligence? Do you recall who is the father of computer science and artificial intelligence?
Sir, as far as I can remember, Charles Babbage is considered as father of computer science, sir. But regarding artificial intelligence, I am unaware of that, sir. I'll look into that, sir. Pardon.
Alan Turing.
Yes, thank you.
Now, what for is Alan Turing famous?
Sir, he is famous for devising this Turing machine, sir, which decides on the computability of any language. If a language is acceptable through Turing machine, sir, then it can be devised using computer systems, sir.
What is the Ramanujan machine?
Pardon me, sir. I'm unaware of that, sir. I'll look into it.
All right. Pandemic. I want to now talk about pandemic and handling of pandemic. In Andhra Pradesh, you think the way pandemic was handled, if you were there in a district posted in Andhra Pradesh, how would you have done few things which you think were missing in the government agenda?
Sir, largely the handling of COVID pandemic by Andhra Pradesh was effective, efficient, and humane, sir. The mortality rate is also very less. It is about 0.54, which is very much less than the national mortality rate, sir. A few changes here and there that I would like to bring in the handling of COVID situation as a district magistrate was, sir. I would like to have a district-wide control room, control room with all the technology platform that has details of all the resources, like all the hospital beds, ICU beds, and also oxygen resources and other vital drugs, etc. Further, if anyone tests positive, sir, then our team of doctors will consult them through telemedicine and assess their situation. If needed, they will directly book them a slot in any one of the hospitals. Rather than patients going to the hospitals for admission, the district administration can directly allot beds to the patients based on the severeness of the disease. And further, the government using technologies like artificial intelligence can directly assess the situation of availability of resources like oxygen and drugs.
Okay, fine. We'll quickly move to this similar topic on a global level. Do you think failure of globalization has allowed pandemic to spread far and wide? Do you think failure of globalization has allowed pandemic to grow faster?
Sir, in my opinion, globalization is responsible for both spread of pandemic and also control of pandemic, sir. Because of movement of people from one area to one country to another country, initially the pandemic has spread very rapidly, sir. After that, because of collaborative efforts from countries in technological efforts for manufacturing of vaccines, etc., by sharing their best practices, etc., they have made significant efforts, significant collective efforts to reduce the impact of pandemic, sir. So I think globalization has both helped in two ways, both ways.
Here I mean by globalization is also the mutual cooperation and the intellectual property rights.
Yes, sir.
That is the IPR waiver. It is stuck somewhere now in European Union. So don't you think that if it was a globalization, successful globalization, by now more and more countries would have produced vaccine?
Definitely, sir. If TRIPS waiver was given for IPR on vaccines, then the manufacturing of vaccines would have been scaled up. But the nations are trying now, sir. Like the US has recently supported this initiative, the initiative by India and South Africa WTO for TRIPS waiver. So in the next coming 1 or 2 months, sir, then I think this will also be a reality, the TRIPS waiver.
Okay. 26th January episode led to a debate on sedition laws, relevance of implementation of sedition laws. So what is your opinion on sedition laws? Do you think that these laws have become outdated and they call for a review? Or you think laws are fine and should be strictly imposed?
Sir, the section 124 that deals with sedition laws, sir, it tries to curb the tendencies of anti-nationalist tendencies, sir. But there are few judgments by the Supreme Court which gives detailed procedures, detailed SOP, in which instances the sedition law can be applied, sir. In Kedarnath Singh judgment, it specifically says that sedition can be applied only when there is incitement to violence. So I think there needs to be a clear standard of procedures, sir, that tells the specific cases in which sedition law can be applied, sir. It should be only used as a last resort, sir, because having freedom of expression is also very vital for survival of democracy, sir. Sedition should not curb the criticism of the government, sir.
Okay, recently there was a decision by the High Court that live-in relationship is not the social norm, and it refused protection to the couple who were involved in live-in relationship. How do you view this judgment of the court vis-a-vis Supreme Court ruling and vis-a-vis Article 21 of the Constitution?
Sir, several earlier Supreme Court judgments said that the children who have took birth from live-in relationship, they'll also have the property rights. Further, the Domestic Violence Act, etc., it is also applicable to couple living in living relationships, sir. And in my personal opinion, sir, all the individual relationships, sir, they are a matter of two people's personal interests. If that is not in the negative interest of the society, sir, we should support them. We should change according to the conditions of the society, sir. Our society is progressing very fastly, and live-in relationships, they are being accepted at a very wider range, sir. Many people are considering them as a positive thing because of the flexibility that provides, and because of the nature of the people, nature of the youth now, they are supporting live-in relationships, sir. And I think courts, being protector of liberties of people, they should also protect this individual right to life, the way they want to have their marital relations, the way they want to have their relation, the way they want to decide on personal relations. I think court also has a duty to protect such individual liberties and rights. So I think Supreme Court was a bit more liberal and correct forward looking in this aspect.
Okay, you think universal basic income debate in present times of COVID has again gained momentum? It is desirable, or what is your opinion on universal basic income in pandemic times?
So definitely this pandemic has created a lot of effect on mainly the unorganized sector people, sir. They are not having enough surplus savings and also no income to spend on their food, even their basic necessities like food, etc. In this situation, universal basic income can definitely come handy, can improve their standard of living, provide them sufficient food, quality food, nutritious food, by which they can improve the immunity to deal with the COVID pandemic, sir. I think universal basic income is a good step in these times.
Okay, last question before I pass on to my friend. Is related to use of blockchain technology, and cryptocurrency, need for cryptocurrency by India. So can you suggest uses of blockchain in India, and is there any need for cryptocurrency in India?
So blockchain is a blockchain is a type of data set, sir, where the data is stored in blocks, linked to each other, distributed over a ledger, sir. They are distributed over several systems. There is no centralized data, sir. The main benefit with blockchains is that the data cannot be altered, sir. The integrity of the data is protected at all respects. And the security of the data is also very much better through blockchain. It is very much useful in transactions like land agreements, land ownership agreements, land transfer agreements, and also smart contracts, where on fulfillment of a contract, some several things will happen. And other than that, sir, there are several uses like insurance schemes, where on death or where on happening of some incident, automatically the sum insured will be transferred without any disturbances or without any hindrances, sir. So there are several use cases like this for blockchain, sir. Coming to the specific question of cryptocurrency, sir, the main benefit of cryptocurrency is the main benefit is lack of control of central agency and lack of and reduction in the user fees, etc., sir, because of its decentralized nature and peer-to-peer networks, sir. But this cryptocurrency might also be used as a way for illicit funding of illicit activities, etc. And also the value of cryptocurrency, sir, it is also very dynamic. It is changing just because of a statement by a CEO of a multinational company. Its value has come down to around 20%, sir. The biggest cryptocurrency, Bitcoin. So depending excessively on cryptocurrency, sir, will may in the long term result in negative consequences to both our monetary policy, and also it may erode the savings of people, sir. So to utilize the benefits of blockchain, the government may come up with its own central government digital currency, sir, by which it can use the flexibility provided by blockchain, backed by the specific revenues or specific guarantee from the government. I think it would be a good step.
Okay, over to you, Mr. Sumesh.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Your optional subject is anthropology.
Yes.
Okay. Among tribals, we generally see women are very less empowered.
Pardon me, sir. I'm unable to hear the question. Can you be a bit louder?
Yeah. Now is it okay? Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. A bit okay.
Okay. Among tribals, women, we generally see women are very less empowered. So what ways would you suggest to improve their situation?
Sir, pardon me, sir, if I am allowed to differ with your statement a bit.
Yeah, sure, please.
I would say that in most of the tribal communities, sir, the women are more empowered, sir, when compared to other mainstream communities. The respect they give to women and the position the women occupies in tribal societies, sir, it is also a bit better than the mainstream societies, sir.
Exactly. Can you trace the genesis of Naxalism in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana?
Sir, the Naxalite movement in Andhra Pradesh was started under the name of People's War Group, sir. People's War Group in tribal areas for protection of tribals' land from land alienation, and also to provide sufficient welfare schemes and sufficient benefits to tribal people, sir.
Coming to your hobby, you like watching web series.
Yes.
Okay, so should OTT platforms be regulated? What is your take on that?
Sir, I think the OTT platform should be regulated, sir, because we have seen in several instances where some content of a web series is creating widespread violence, like the Tandav controversy or Mirzapur controversy, and further because of lack of regulation, like the censorship by CBFC, etc., it is resulting in nudity and increased violence, sir, which may also have adverse impact on the society, sir. Then the regulation is definitely needed.
Okay, and you are Assistant Commissioner of State Tax.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so tell me, if petrol and diesel prices are bought under GST, how will it affect the revenue of states?
Sir, the VAT that the states are levying on petrol and diesel, sir, it is coming up to around 20 to 25% of the state's own tax revenue resources, sir. If it is brought into GST net, then the maximum SGST that can be applied is 14% only, sir. Whereas the rate of taxes now are around 28 to 30%, sir. Then the revenues of the state will come down significantly, sir. But if they are brought into GST net, sir, there are some other benefits, like the industries that are using petrol and diesel as inputs, they can get input tax credit on those products, which can further result in increased revenues at their hand, which they can use for further investment, etc., sir. It may also improve, it may also result in increased economic growth in the long term.
Okay, so do you propose a new GST slab for petrol and diesel of, let's say, 40% to address this issue?
Sir, I think introduction of new GST slab at 40% doesn't bring any significant reduction in the prices to the normal consumer, sir. So instead of that, bringing petrol and diesel into 28% net with a temporary cess that can be reduced gradually. based on increase in revenues from other sources and also increase in GST revenues by improving tax base and also reducing the tax evasion, then that would be a good step, sir, in the long run.
Okay, very good, fair enough. So I pass on to Chairman, sir.
Thank you.
Yashwant, on the foreign policy issues, tell me, India and US, India and Israel, India and Canada, these relations have been seeing ups and downs. What have been the downs in the recent past with these three countries?
Sir, with specific to United States, sir, recently United States was not very much cooperative in supplying of input materials for Serum Institute of India for vaccine production, and also United States have significantly delayed export of vaccines that it is stocking. Instead, although it doesn't have the sufficient demand to utilize those vaccines, sir. Further, the recent incident of a naval vessel of United States crossing India's exclusive economic zone to it is also a significant downturn in our relations, sir, with respect to United States. And further coming to Israel, sir, in the recent Palestine-Israel conflict and the recent ongoing tussle between Israel and Palestine, India seems to be more supportive of Palestine side because it is still supporting the two-state solution, rather whereas many supporters of Israel have supported its own stance. And the Israel Prime Minister, while expressing his happiness over the international support, he has not mentioned India in his tweets.
Very good.
So with specific to Canada, I am unaware of any such specific issue in the recent past. Pardon.
All right. So just one more question. These disruptions, you have heard of disruptions in the economies? Disruptions.
Yes, sir. For example, incidents like demonetization, introduction of GST.
So tell me one good case of disruption, which has been good for the economy so far, and one bad case of disruption in India.
Sir, one good case of disruption I can think of is introduction of GST, sir. At the initial stages, because of lack of scalability of the technological platform and the e-way platform, etc., there and also lack of awareness of the entire details of return filing, etc., the taxpayers have gone through significant amount of difficulties, sir. But as we have seen from the experience of last 3 years, most of the taxpayers have benefited significantly because of reduced corruption, because of everything was made online now, technology was used immensely, and further the logistics efficiency, it has also gone up, sir. The logistics costs were reduced by around 20% by the statement of our Honorable Finance Minister, and the cost of compliance have also come down, sir. Instead of complying with multiple state laws and multiple central taxation laws, now there is a single law for complying. So it has resulted in ease of doing business for the taxpayers. One negative disruption I can think of is demonetization, sir. Because of unplanned demonetization, I think the unorganized sector, most of the Indian economy is based on cash transactions, sir. That has suffered significantly. So the economy has come down because of lack of demand from the general public, because of lack of cash.
Good. Very good. Now, Yashwant, we have asked you quite a few questions. Anything, any area, subject which we may have missed out, and you would like us to ask from such an area of your choice as well?
Sir, I would like to take any specific questions about Andhra Pradesh, sir.
So I started with Andhra Pradesh.
Yeah.
I think 2 questions were from Andhra Pradesh. So, okay, tell me, you have already mentioned about the LWE problem, but it is my reading, since I have spent a lot of time in Andhra, that the problem of LWE in Andhra Pradesh has come down quite a bit compared to what it was, 10, 20 years ago. Same thing has happened in Jharkhand also. So is it that the entire belt, which is the belt of movement of the tribals, the LWEs, which has been affected? Or is it because the state has taken, with the assistance of center, to tackle this LWE problem in Andhra?
So specifically in Andhra Pradesh, sir, the state police forces and the state administration was at the forefront of the war with Naxalites. Sir. They have devised a specific anti-Naxalite group called Greyhounds for the security issues. Sir. And further, Andhra Pradesh has specifically focused on the development parts. Sir. It has the main reason why tribals were supporting Naxalites is because of lack of empathy of government functionaries and the government system towards them, sir. The government has made efforts to bring the tribals into the mainstream administration setup, sir, so that they doesn't need to depend on tribals for getting benefits. And further, the government has also planned a very attractive rehabilitation plan for the Naxalites, sir, for surrendering. Because of that, most of the Naxalites have surrendered in Andhra Pradesh, and many of other Naxalites have moved on to other states, sir.
Thank you, Yashwant.
Yes, Yashwant. How you felt after the mock interview? You were feeling good? You felt otherwise? How you think your interview went?
So I think it went well, sir, in my opinion.
Okay. Okay, I agree with you because you were asked a wide range of questions, and I was very glad with at least the replies that you made out. You gave in respect of various blockchain and cyber and cryptocurrency. Only one suggestion that two suggestions here: blockchain,
Sir.
use of healthcare data to build up a very strong blockchain is desirable. Okay, so that will make our system far more improved. You are a student of computer.
Sure.
Cryptocurrency, read more about it. Why should India lag behind when other countries have started?
Sure.
So checks and India has shown its intention to come out with a cryptocurrency.
Sure.
So as a policy, they have not yet dumped it.
Sure.
Third point is on globalization and pandemic. Here, the intention of globalization was America for Americans and America for its own thing, and this movement somehow affected the globalization concept. Otherwise, this was the perfect time to make use of globalization to check on pandemic. Now, European Union is holding back when said that they are willing to share the patent. Okay. So this reply, you can read more on the current affairs and improve. Rest all, you were good on universal basic income. On Alan Turing, he is the only person whose picture has come on a currency coin of British pound. £5 currency note shows Alan Turing. That is the importance of computer and artificial intelligence today.
Sure.
So I asked you specifically that.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So rest all you are doing very well. You some suggestions. You speak very fast. You know too much, so try to speak for a little longer than required. Smile. You look very tensed, as if somehow this should be over. You should enjoy the discussion.
Okay.
We are discussing, either you know or you don't know. Maybe you, in your conversation, we pick up some thread and ask you question. Now, last point is on why you want to become civil servant. Your reply was not good. The moment you say that you have an IOC job or you will revert back to a second option, you are giving an impression to the board that why should we take, he has got something else to do. He is not very keen. Otherwise, he would have shown his intention. Don't show your second inclination. Focus and be very clear that you want this job. Then only you will get it. Otherwise, there are 100 ways of, people saying, why you? There are others. So
Sure.
that correction I want you to make.
Sure.
Prepare that answer.
Sure.
Over to you, Vinodji.
Yashwant, a few things from my side.
Sir.
You were excellent, both in terms of your confidence level, your presentation, your body language, your fluency, and mainly the content. You were alive. A little bit of more smile would, I think, would add to your marks.
Sure.
And you were forceful in your statements of what you said. You were assertive. At times you had become a bit too precise, as has been indicated by Mr. Khanna as well, too abrupt. I'll give an instance. You were asked by Mr. Sumesh about this tribal women empowerment. So first is that you straight away says, I beg to differ with this thing. Now, avoid this sentence in the interviews.
Okay.
You just tell, sir, to my mind, I feel that there has been a lot of empowerment. Okay. And the women of tribal sector or tribal people not having empowerment is not totally true because of this. Now, that is one point that you should not be. It is not his view. Basically, members are not sharing their own views. So no point in saying that I don't agree with you.
Okay. It's
just a statement. So you have to just attack at the statement rather than who has given the statement.
Okay.
And use these harsh words. Number two, when the force with which you did not agree or differed with the interviewer, you did not justify with the same force.
Okay.
You did not substantiate with any cogent, solid reasons.
Okay.
You were very abrupt. No, sir, I don't agree. I differ. Beg to differ. You women of tribals are very empowered. This, that's right. Okay. Give some reasons. Number one, number two, number three. You are from Andhra. If you know about Andhra, give some specific examples. And another thing, that you cannot be one way or the other. There could be, I'm just telling you, you have to check the facts. Sir, yes, in some areas, the tribal women may be not as much empowered as they are in some places. So they differ. But there have been ranges of empowerment. But there have been very good cases where women are very empowered.
Okay.
And I can cite an example of Andhra Pradesh and likewise.
Okay. Sure.
I have stayed in your tribal village of your state, Andhra Pradesh.
Okay.
So Vizianagaram, in district. So we stayed for 4 days in the tribal village.
Okay.
So that was way back in 1983.
Okay.
So you can cite some example that, sir, in our state, women are quite empowered, but there may be some states like Madhya Pradesh, Bastar, where this, or maybe if you have knowledge about some place. So you
sure.
give a cover of the, the range of the possibility of empowerment. That is another, it will apply to all such
sure.
questions, not just tribal.
Sure.
You don't be categorical. No, sir, women of tribals are most empowered. Who would believe this? That means they are more empowered than the women in Delhi or Bombay? Obviously not. So that is one more point. And of course, you were, so your answers should not be very precise that you speak and then finish off, you know.
Okay.
It should be at least, we are against lengthy answers.
Okay.
Generally, we prompt candidates like you in the mock interview not to be so lengthy.
Okay.
You were to the point most of the time, but once or twice you knew the subject. You could have spoken another 1 or 2 sentences on that point, but you kept quiet.
Okay.
So just see how you can get rid of this. And lastly, your contents were excellent, Yashwant. You have a very good knowledge base. The span of knowledge is good. The depth of knowledge is good. So if you are not happy with your current interview, it is good that you should improve further and get some more marks. We have rated you very high, 67 to 68%. And incidentally, out of the 6 candidates that we had interviewed with, we have put you as the best. So you are in that range from our angle, from our perception, the best possible range of 65 to 70.
Okay.
Some candidates may score even beyond 70. So why I'm saying this, because if you can take care of some more areas that we have mentioned to you, you would get around 70. And
Sure.
in the lighter vein, I can say that if you had come for the interview today, in the attire which you gave is your photograph, you know, with your jacket and smart tie, then maybe I would have added 2 more marks today itself. So that is an indication that you should dress up well.
Definitely. So I need to shop for itself. Because of the lockdown, I was unable to do. I'll definitely do this.
I'm not asking you the reason, but this is just, you know.
I'll definitely do that.
Yes. Any question, anything you would like to ask us?
Nothing as such, sir. I got a good number of inputs, sir. I'll work on them. Thank you, sir.
So thank you, Yashwant, and wish you
Thank
all
you.
the best.
Thank you, sir.
If you have done your main examination, how did you do your main examination?
It went well, sir. It went good, sir.
It went good. No, it went well, good, or excellent?
Not excellent, sir. Good.
But I tell you something, the impression that you get after giving the main examination, it may be, the actual result may be totally different.
Yes.
No, there are some people who are conservative, theek hua, just okay, though they have done very well. But if you really mean that you think that it has not gone excellent exam, even then you may get a good surprise. You know, you may get much more than what you expected. This happened with me in one main examination. When I came out of the examination hall, I told my friend, I said, IAS is gone because I've spoiled this paper. And it was that paper which got me the IAS. I got 206 out of 300 compared to 150, 155 average in the remaining 5 papers.
Okay.
So get my point. So
yes, sir.
Don't get dejected.
Yes.
Go to the interview as if you are getting into the top 10 or top 100. All right.
Thank you.
The best. All the
Thank
best.
you.
Okay. All the best. All the
Thank you.
best.
Okay, all the best. Keep it up.
Thank you.